Okay, screen, share computer sound, share, and we're up and running again. All right. Let's see. Let's block you. Let's go over here. Okay, so we're gonna go back to that video, and I'll stop and make comments here and there. And you know, if you're thinking and you're watching this and there's something you're not understanding, or there's some questions you want to ask, you know, make sure you write those down. Also, if there is anything most vital, if there is anything that you have to share of something you have noticed, you know, on your horse in any of this regard or anything like that, please, please, please share it, because it's so great to hear what other people are seeing. You know, we're all horse moms, and a mom knows when even a hair is out of place. You know, moms are observant. They know when their children aren't feeling good. They know when their children are feeling good. You know, we're horse moms. And so, you know, your observances and what you learn is as important as anything I am trying to share with you here, because you are what is going to make this work, and you are the ones that are going to add, contribute data and facts and observances and things like that, so that we can build these things up to be able to share with people, and you know, in 100 years change the world. Maybe. But anyway, reach more people and help more people. That's what this is about. It is about helping horses and helping people. That's it. Okay. And everybody's got some good to share. So, all right. So, let's see. Okay, I'm just going to show you what this looks like. Pushing it down from in here, if I can do it. Can you hear that? Okay, now you see when I'm doing that, do you see why the frog does not have to have ground contact? You know, do you see why it's important for it to be flexible and have a little bit of room, you know, not just be set in the frog corium itself down on the ground to where you're just pummeling the bulbs, the frog corium, the whole back of that foot with every step that horse takes. You know, this stuff here was not meant to be slammed on the ground. It was meant to be supported up off the ground by this here. See, all the while doing this, while stabilizing the heels really don't go anywhere. You know, it might go out a tad that way, but yeah, I should say, well, yeah, they do go there. If I was to take that hoof capsule and put it between my two hands and then push up one side and pull down on the other, it flexes really, really a lot, so that when the horse is on level ground, like if there was a rock here and it was flat here, then that heel will move up. The bulbs move independently, and so does the back of this hoof capsule, up and down. But they're really stable. The heels don't go anywhere. But the weight of the horse, you know, they talk about the weight of the horse. No, the weight of the horse is not suspended on the lamina. Okay, this is where we got cut off. I wanted to know how many of you, and we're going to take a yes, no from everybody here before I go on. I just said the weight of the horse is not suspended from the lamina. Okay, see, what I need to know is how many of you know what is truly believed in traditional farriery? You know, that they believe, this is what they believe. And this comes from the medieval ages, okay? Somebody just dreamed this up in their head, and then it became doctrine, all right? And so this has traveled down for hundreds of years, okay? You think that a farrier believes that the horse bears the weight, maybe like on the hoof wall alone. Like we know that they think no sole, they carve out the sole and they put the shoe on the bottom of the hoof wall here, right? And so we think, well, you know, they think that the horse bears the weight on the wall here. See the wall? Okay, but that is not really what they believe. Okay, they believe, and this is taught everywhere, that the horse bears its weight. Okay, you see these little lamina? This is the internal lamina, very fine, of the hoof capsule. Okay, and then you have, that's called the insensitive lamina. It's called insensitive because it's part of the hoof capsule, like part of your fingernail. Okay, but it is, you know, in between each one of these, and there's, you know, 600, 700, 800 around the foot here, is got a thin, fine sheet of sensitive lamina on this foot here. Okay, they believe that when this lamina is joined to that lamina, that is what bears the whole weight of the horse. In other words, every other creature on the face of the planet walks where? Carries weight where? Pretty much on the bottom of its foot, right? But when it comes to the horse, all of a sudden things got real magical, okay? And they bear their weight only on the lamina here. And so when a farrier comes in and he puts a shoe on the horse and he carves out the sole so that the wall is only on the rim of that shoe, he's doing that because he is transferring the weight from the bottom of the foot onto the side of the foot and onto the lamina. And so then they say, well, that, you know, does that make sense to you? Maybe that's why we have epidemic of laminitis. Now, so it starts tearing this right away when you do that. This is under constant inflammation, and that is why these horses that get shod, often their feet deform so drastically. And of course, you're keeping it together with hammer and nails, so the horse can withstand this for a long, long time and stuff. But then there comes the day when the horse's foot cannot adapt anymore, and that lamina connection between these lamina and that lamina, they're just, you know, you have failure of the foot and stuff. So, you know, between that and the fact that they do not know the true anatomy of the sole, anyway, those are just two things, two errors that they believe for centuries. So, you know, I wanted you to know. All right, so we're going to let this go.
You know, horse doesn't bear his weight on this. Horse bears its weight on the bottom of the foot, but it's never the whole solid weight, because every step that horse takes, there's this motion going on. See, that takes the brunt of the weight. The digital cushion and the whole way that the foot is put together, this takes the brunt of the weight. Here. Let's do that again. Look at how beautiful it is. You know, I wonder what it looks like from the bottom. Let's see. I wonder if we could push it. Oh, well, we can. It looks kind of like that.
There's your central sulcus. Look what it does.
Let's see.
It widens up.
Oh, well, now don't we know why? Don't we know why this is like this now? It kind of spreads out. Very interesting. Look at how flexible that is. See?
Now, I will tell you that if learned a lot from this mare. In fact, one of the things we learned was about this frog stay. Because after I soaked the foot for so long, this all showed up like this in the back of that foot, and I was like, well, what's that? And but the thing about it is her heels are still trimmed out. And so this frog stay is not exactly what it should be. First of all, her heels should be about this much wider over here, and see all these little wrinkles? Those shouldn't even be there. Her frog stay should be really about this wide. So, you know, she had contracted heels from years ago, getting deep central sulcus thrush and different things like that, and the heels trimmed out. You know, that contracted her heels somewhat too. So anyway, so even though we're looking at this, this is not a fully, what do I say, correct foot. Okay, but I will tell you that she was very comfortable, sound as a dollar when she died, just from getting this far. Okay.
And sorry about that. We don't want a whole bunch of blood and gore, because there's nothing gory or terrible about this foot. It's a beautiful, beautiful work of creation. You know, if you don't think so, all you have to do is look at the eagle. He bears them up on eagle's wings. Let's see, let's get this over here. If I can do that. Nope, I'm going to have to put this up some. That's interesting how it spreads. Okay. See, looks like an eagle with wings. Frankly, it fascinates me. I want to play with it as much as I can and experiment. Because it'll dry out and then this will crack out here. You know, this is soft right here. It's hard and soft. It's got kind of a covering over it that is it's like the frog material. Let's look at that again. When you push it, how it spreads.
We get a message here, so I want to see what's going on here. It's from Claire, and she's showing us a picture.
Hang on, Linda, I'm just trying to find it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I want to look at anything that looks good. Okay, well, let me know when you got it, and we'll come back to it, okay?
Well, now we know why there's a central sulcus. Because it spreads. This spreads right here. Pretty cool. Okay.
Okay, let me go back.
Okay, I'm just going to show you what this looks like.
Thank you.
Well, hello, this is Linda Harris, and it's been
Quit. Okay. Um, see what I got going here. Just a minute. Well, let's watch this one real quick.
um, we'll take a look at it here. Look at the big frog stay. Now you don't notice the
Before we watch this, well, no, okay, we're gonna go because you didn't see that other one, the foot in it. So here it is with the foot in it.
these frog stays because usually the outside is dried out. If it's dry weather, you usually only notice them if the horse's foot has been in water for a while. Okay. All right, so let's take the hoof.
So imagine this foot, you know, in the last video, I stopped it and I did an annotation where I showed you how this foot would be if it was correct. But there was no hoof capsule on it. So I'm just going to kind of draw on here. If I can find the annotate and show you what the difference would have been in this foot in the back of the foot. You know, they talk about heel first landings. Did you know that when you're trimming the heels out of these horses, mechanically you are forcing them to land heel first on a heel that you are decimating? How interesting is that? I mean, you know, if diabolical, you know, got to be some sort of, I don't know, you know, I mean, that's pretty awful, pretty awful. Okay, so let me find where to draw with here. Let's use that one. And
I've sent that photo through now.
okay, I will look at it here in just a second. Okay, so remember the coronary band, the very end of the coronary band that grows the heel buttress. Okay, it's pulled down on the foot like this. See? Okay. And so of course the hoof capsule back here, and this here, it's all growing like that. You know, this is not the true foot of this horse. Let's see. The true foot, okay, the coronary band, this right here, that grows the heel buttress, would have come out at least that far. Okay, and so this little bit of buttress here that's growing here would have been growing clear back here, like that. And it would have been this big right there. A triangular, now they are the shape of it, when you look at the bottom of it, is like this. Okay, so you have a piece of hoof wall that is, I'm not a very good drawer, but it's a big chunk, you know. Let's see, I don't know how to draw that, but anyway, so you would have that. Now this cartilage that's been pulled here, this would have been like this. So do you see how much you're taking away from these horses? You're taking away the whole foundation of the back of their foot. Okay, now what's going to happen to all the bones in here? What about the navicular bone? What about the deep digital flexor tendon? What about short pastern bone, long pastern bone, cannon bone up into the knee, you know, into the foreleg, into the back, into the shoulder? What's happening? You know, but here's another thing. Okay, it puts constant stress on the internal lamina, because it's not in it. These here are meant to stabilize this whole hoof capsule. And so when you don't have that, the hoof capsule is unstable, and they will have constant inflammation. Even if there's no visible signs of limping, Okay, you know that you can be in pain when you have inflammation. You know, it destroys your joints, things like that. So constant inflammation, tearing, ripping of the lamina between the two laminas. Um, Now you can do this and put a shoe on it, nails, and it holds everything together. And it's like if you've ever torn part of your fingernail off and you want a band-aid on that, right? Because you don't want to catch it on something. It's kind of similar to that, except of course the horse lives on his feet. And so, you know, you just imagine the thing about it is too, it's the spring in this whole mechanism. Now the frog that's in there, the frog stay, okay, that's clear up in here. Where is it? Just a minute. It'll be up here like that. That frog stay be like that. Oh, actually be back here. Let me redo that. Frog stay be like that. It's be huge. You're gonna have about an inch thick of frog going clear back here, and it's actually supposed to come behind the heels like this. That would be your frog stay. Okay, so I'll undo this and we'll finish watching this.
Capsule off, and what I want you to see is that the horse, this is like a shoe. I want you to think of this like a shoe or a boot, and what's going to come out of there like a foot, because it is a foot. This is not your horse's foot. This that's inside here and that goes up here is your horse's foot. And the hoof capsule grows in one piece and comes off in one piece off of that foot, which is covered with skin that just happens to grow this. Just like hair grows out of your skin. You grow fingernails, things like that. Okay? This is keratin. And so it's coming, what you're going to find in there is skin like this, dermis, that grows this hoof capsule. Okay, so we're just going to take the hoof capsule off. Now, when you get laminitis, see the mechanics of that? If you get a long toe up here, then there's stress pulling the foot actually out of the capsule. And when a foot rotates and goes up here, this periopal can stretch up here. This periopal can stretch this far.
Okay, I just wanted to say something too. This is another thing that happens when the heels are trimmed out and incorrect. It makes the toe look long when it's not. Now you can have a long toe, and you don't want that because that creates a big lever out here, you know, that'll cause distortion and flares and different types of things. But you can also have, like with this mare, and when I did this video, I did not know some of the stuff I'm telling you here about the back of the foot. This mare taught me some of that thing. That, and plus many of us kept, you know, we've kept trimming our horses and restoring the foot, because see, you're not just restoring the heel wall. The whole inner foot is affected by trimming out the heels. It pulls all this down. And so as you're growing and restoring all this, another thing that has to happen is this whole foot has to be pushed back up. Everything restored back here. I think eventually I could have restored what I'm showing you was trimmed out of her and not correct yet, where I showed you how her cartilage should have been clear out here and things like that. So when I look at this foot now, I can tell, because these heels are still not quite correct, that it kind of makes that toe look long. Okay? And so what happens is then people get into this thing where Well, they're trimming the heels out more. It's making the toe look longer, so they're trimming the toe back. And so what this does is it starts literally bending this foot on the inside and producing a capsule that it can be up to a third smaller than what it's supposed to be. And then, of course, I'm going to take this off. You're going to see the inner foot. All horses have the same anatomical inner foot, all of them. They might be a different size, it might be a little different here and there, but like people, anatomically, they have the same foot inside of this capsule. And so when you trim it certain ways, you can alter the shape and size of the capsule and compress the foot into that smaller container.
Okay, so let's take the foot out of the capsule. We're going to come around here. Hopefully I won't knock a bunch of stuff off. It's just like a nice tight-fitting boot. I don't want to knock things over. That's why I'm kind of taking it easy there. See, now when the foot rotates, this is what happens. Only you'll see this periopal skin stretching clear up to here. But this would be now the new position of the foot in the capsule. And so this has basically become disattached, and now you have a new capsule growing from this position. This is why laminitis is so difficult, because you're trying to grow one foot off while growing the other on. Where it gets really bad is if it rotates clear up into here in the coronary band. Okay. There we go. Now there's the inner foot. Now once I soak it more, the skin color will be the same skin color as this. Now what you're seeing here is just the skin of the horse without the hair on it. See, this capsule is meant to grow in one piece from this foot. Okay, so what we want to look at here is the mechanism of what is called the frog stay. Okay, let's just set this down for a minute and let's look at the frog stay. The frog stay is a big chunk of frog that grows from the frog corium between the bulbs. Right here. It's very good sized. See there? See how thick it is? Okay, so it grows from right between here. And it's a major part of keeping the foot stable and the suspension system of the foot. Okay, your digital cushion is from here to here. Your frog stay is from here to here. And then of course you want to, it's about an inch from here to here, and then you want a good inch of frog too from here down to here if you can get it. And that's going to give your horse a lot of suspension, a lot of spring in his step. You're going to have good hoof mechanism. Without a frog stay, you cannot have good hoof mechanism. And trimming the heels out down to the periopal flap here, that will, well, that trims the frog stay out. Pulls all this down and under the foot. Okay, so let's just put this right here for now. Now here's your frog stay. Now I want you to see something here. Okay, now this right here, the frog hooks onto this right here. This is all flexible in here. we're going to put this here. And I want you to see how the frog stay works. Stand up here. Okay, when the pastern descends, it hits the digital cushion first, and then it runs right into this. This holds the digital cushion up and in place. I'll show you that in a minute, and I'll show you what it does here. So the pastern hits this, and it descends like that. See there, that is why you don't want to just be taking the heels down to the frog, to frog height, because you may not even have any frog thickness. And every time you do that, you wind up trimming more and more of the heel out, more and more of the frog stay out, to where you get nothing in here. I'll show you what you get, if I can find it. Okay, this is another hoof capsule here. Okay, this horse had no frog stay, really at all. He had collapsed heels that were run forward, and technically this, look at the 30-degree hairline. When people force their horse into a 30-degree hairline, it trims the support out of the back of the foot. The frog has no room to grow. It pulls all the anatomy down that grows the frog stay between the bulbs, and it pulls it out, and you wind up with this little number here. See, not much of a frog stay at all. Look, there's even a hole in it. Okay, that's what you do when you trim the heels out. Okay, notice.
So mechanically, it's the same thing. On that horse, he never got trimmed. He lived in an 80-acre pasture over here. He was put down because he went blind. He was 8 years old. And so he was never trimmed. And so his feet got long, and it's sawed here. And so when the heels get long and everything gets long and they're not trimmed, then everything collapses backward and forward. And so, but it's the same mechanically as when you trim the heels out, and you're pulling all that down by trimming the heels out, because you're setting all these horn tubules at a lower angle growing forward like this. Well, then you better stay on that trim, because those toes really want to grow. It seems like, you know, and that's because you changed the angle. You got to really, this is the big main part of the anatomically correct trim, is that these horn tubules must be aligned closely with the internal lamina of the foot. See, of the foot, because the lamina on the foot, the alignment on that inner foot never changes. Okay, but when you trim out the heels, the alignment on the capsule changes, and it makes it so that, well, I was just talking away here and I had it on mute. So never mind. Here, I'm going to start that again. Sorry about that.
The difference in the angle of these 2 feet. This one has a 30-degree hairline, and this one, I'm not sure what the angle is, but it's probably more like, I don't know, anywhere from 13 to 18, a lot higher than this.
Okay, what else? What other angle? See, this is what I was trying to explain. I had a stupid thing on mute and then found out I was only talking to myself. Okay, a big part, and I've really seen this, I guess, I've been seeing it all along and been practicing it all along, but I didn't see the vitality and vitalness of it. And that is that these horn tubules that you see running down the foot like this, you can tell really in this foot because of the pigmentation. Okay, you see the angle of the horn tubule. They grow down in one strand from up here at the coronary band. They grow like this, and they're like dominoes, and they're in alignment, and they're supposed to be in parallel alignment, longest in the center of the toe, getting shorter as they go back to the heel. Okay, and what this does is, okay, your internal foot, this foot over here, if I was just take this foot and stand it up here, you're going to look at the lamina on the side of the foot. Remember, it's attached to a big old horse up here. You're going to look at the lamina on the side of the foot. The lamina on the side of that foot never changes its angle. Okay, it's angled, you know, similar to this. Okay, just like the internal lamina that I showed you earlier of this hoof capsule that connects to the lamina of this foot. Okay, this lamina on this hoof capsule has to be in alignment with the lamina on the internal foot, and the internal foot is always the same. But when you go and you trim the heels out, or the foot gets long and they collapse and grow forward like that, it sets all these at a different angle, and so therefore you don't have weight bearing equilibrium between that capsule and between that inner foot. And so what the anatomically correct trim is about is trying to restore all this to get this hoof capsule in perfect alignment and weight bearing equilibrium with the inner foot, and have all the parts right, and have that big, nice frog stay back here supporting that inner foot in back. Okay.
Now, if I was to force this foot into having a 30-degree hairline, I wouldn't have any heels, and I wouldn't have any frog stay, and the foot would not function correctly. Okay, so I want you to look at this. Okay, this foot was meant to be up like this and supported by that frog stay, and then have some frog under that.
Okay, now do you see why you can't just cut this heel out and force frog contact on this frog? Because why? Because there's sole in your heel here. You know, don't you think you have to have at least that much sole under that foot? You know? And so when you don't have heels, you usually don't have sole, much sole either.
And some room under that for the suspension system. See there? And see, it pushes up, it's pushing up, it's hard to push down. And so when this horse's leg is going down like this, okay, that's going to push it back up. Let's see. What is happening is people have been taught to trim the heels out of their horses, mimicking the image of a wild horse that people didn't know it, but it had worn its heels out. Okay, watch this. See? Okay, see the pastern bone here? And that descends down. I can't push it down as far as it'll go, but this pastern bone here will go clear down to here. Okay, and so when it descends down, descends down onto this digital cushion. The digital cushion descends down onto the frog stay and is pushing it down like this, and the frog stay is pushing it up like that, and that's what gives your horse correct suspension, correct hoof function. Guards and saves his tendons from being overexerted. See? Let's go ahead and put this in here and do it. Okay, there we go. I probably can't make it do it, but see, if that horse was really running and that pastern right here was descending down onto that, see there? Let me put it on something so you can see it better. See if I can, probably gonna break this. Yep, that's not gonna work. Well, I wish I had a glass or something else to set it on. I see nothing close. Okay, well, anyway. See, this all stretches in there. Okay, see this? See when that pastern descends? How it descends onto the digital cushion, but the frog stay is holding the digital cushion in place. See, all I can make it go is about how the horse walks. Even I can't put enough weight on it. Remember, you got 1,200 pounds, which condenses and magnifies into more on a small foot. Okay, let's take this off again. Just a minute. We'll wipe up after ourselves here. Foot can rotate that much in the capsule and be sitting in there. It's grown a whole new sole from what you see here. What you see here, it's growing a whole new sole. They always talk about coffin bone rotation because they're always looking at x-rays and they don't realize that the horse actually has a whole foot in there. They just think it's a capsule with parts. All the dissections you see and everything else, it's hard to believe that people can do so many dissections and still don't really understand the foot of the horse. See, because of falsehoods in the science, in the anatomy, in the understanding. Before you ever start slicing and dicing this, you better look at this foot as a whole unit. Okay, well, that's all for now. Hope that you understand a little bit more about why this frog stay is so necessary, why heel buttress, holding the foot up and supporting it, is so necessary. Okay.
Okay. Let's see here. Oh, man. Oh. Why did it go black? I thought my whole computer shut down. Okay, so we're going to go over to Claire here and look at her horse's foot and look at how, here is the latest, here's what Claire says. Here's the latest heel shot from Tilly, 2.5 years tack. While you are talking about frog stay restoration, knowing it might help, well, of course it will. Let's see, what I want to do is download this and then flip it over. I like to flip things over. So
I sent you another one, Linda. The next photo down, I've already flipped it.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. Download. All right, got that. Is that it? Right there.
Oh, was that a different photo?
Got this one. That one. That
Yeah.
one? Yeah. Now, when was this one?
Well, I actually thought they were from the same day.
Are they? Okay. Well,
The
look,
same photo?
look how wide that frog stay is.
Yeah.
You know? Let's see.
So he had no frog stay at all when I first started doing it.
Well, I bet if we, I'm going to download this picture here. Download. Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of change in this foot. Let's see. Okay, so I've got it downloaded there. All right, so we're gonna go back here. See that big beautiful boy? Is that him? Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that second photo might be a different time because the one before it, I think, is the most recent one.
Okay, well, see, and he's a big boy, ain't he?
Yeah, he's 17 hands.
He's 17 hands?
Yeah.
18 hands. You know, so it takes a lot for a horse like that to build up a foot when it's been trimmed out, you know. So that's wonderful. See, that gives people hope, you know. Just a minute here. I was looking for just a second here. Well, I think the lady that was with us before had to leave. But anyway, the mare that we were looking at to begin with. Anyway, thoroughbred mare, big mare, you know, you see a big horse like this. So we're going to go, you know, I've got pictures of you from way back here. You know, I wonder when we did these.
You've got a better progression of his record than I do, Linda.
Well, look at that. See, at some point in time, we've been sharing all kinds of stuff here. You know.
I did put some on just from the other day.
Okay.
Some comparisons on just the Facebook page.
Okay. See, yeah, he look. See, this is another way you can tell their heels are trimmed out when they get this curve in the wall here, because the hoof capsules want to come up this way and the foot is wanting to go back that way. You know.
I'll send you his most recent one of that one, shall I?
Okay, yes, I'd like to compare those. Let's see here. Let me get a couple of these here. Yeah. See, he just didn't have much there. Big, good, strong horse like that needs a good big foot.
It's quite interesting. For the first time yesterday, I went round and did the, where you measure the dorsal wall 3.5 inches, go back an inch and do 3 and 3.25 and blah 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 all the way to heel. And his feet now actually are all the correct dimensions except for the very heel one. So he does have the foot there, but it still doesn't look like it.
Okay, I just lost everything. Accidentally closed the whole thing off. Are you still there?
Yep.
Okay, I wonder why it didn't close me out totally. Well, now I don't know what to do. Do you still see a screen?
Yeah, but it's just got your home page on it.
Okay, let me go back to Facebook. Well, I'm glad it didn't knock us off there. Let's see. Let's see. We're gonna. Well, sorry here. I'm just getting lost. I'm lost. Okay. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can see the difference in the dorsal wall. Of course, part of his foot is buried here in the sand.
Yeah, it's actually carpet.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, I've put some carpet in my hoof soaking bath so that, because we're like very short on water, so I haven't been able to fill it up.
Hey, that is really a great idea.
Yeah.
I thought it was sand.
Yeah, it looks like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does look like it, but what a great idea. And that's great that you've been doing that, because I know that has really helped his feet. You know.
Well, I've only just started doing it.
I'm sorry, what?
I've only just started to do that. I was lucky enough to get the carpet from where I work. There's a massage therapist, and she chucked out some carpet, and I'm like, oh, I'll have that.
Oh, okay. So, well, it'll really help his feet some more then.
Yeah. Well, we've just actually got some rain this morning. Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, let me download this. Yeah, rain. That's important. See, I live in a slough here. You know, and if it ain't raining, then we forget and leave the water on. Which, anybody else hate that? You know. Okay.
I sent another photo after this one is the same foot, but he's just started to take some weight off it, and then you see a bit more of the hoof capsule.
Okay.
but it's not being weighted correctly, so it's sort of like the angles of his past and everything are all wrong.
Okay, there was another foot I was looking at here. That's back foot, huh? There, that's the one I wanted to.
I've just sent it.
Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna look at these two and compare them here. And also you were talking and I was trying to multitask and do this, so I missed about half of what you just said. Sorry.
I sent a second view of the photo you have on the left there.
Okay.
Where he's just taking the weight off his hoof,
Okay.
so you see more of it, like where it's not sunk into the carpet.
Oh, great. Okay, I got it here. Let's see, download. Okay, so I'm going to get that one, and I'm going to get this one. Wait a minute. Okay, so we got that one, and we got this one, and we're going to put that one there, and we're going to put this one here, and then we're going to enlarge it about that much, and we're going to enlarge it about that much, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that, and I would say that's quite a difference. Wow. That's awesome. You know it?
It's getting there.
Well, that is a big change. That, you know, an inch on a horse's foot is everything. You know, the quality of the wall, the cartilage back here. Look at that, how huge it is. You know, the quality of the wall. Look at how the wall wants to flare here in the toe. Okay, the sole has to be in much better shape just because of this. I'm really excited to see what will happen with this foot this year. And now that you're soaking it too, will really help it even more. I mean, it's just what a blessing to look at this. I'm telling you, you know, wow.
So I suppose something that keeps going around in the back of my mind is with our measurements, his foot being obviously quite big because he's 17 hands.
Yeah.
If he actually needs a little bit more height, I know the coffin bone is about the same height in each hoof, but I don't know how to explain it. Like the actual length of his foot is quite a bit more, isn't it? So do you still need those same measurements? Would they just be spaced further apart as you go back along the hoof, or what? Or would he actually need more height overall?
Really the only part that's expanding is back here. So this part here is
no, because he's got more he's got more hoof wall as well though. You have a look at those black brown stripes that are near the, see how much more hoof there is behind those, between the two pictures.
Yeah, I am seeing. I mean, I'm just sitting here just really looking at it going, wow. I mean, you just like look at it and go, what changed here? You know, so much.
So what I'm saying is if we do a dorsal wall measurement and then we go 1 inch and it's supposed to be 1/4 of an inch less, would that 1 inch then become greater because the overall foot is longer than something that's say 15 hands?
Yeah, he might have some bigger feet in here. You mean the dorsal wall from here to here?
Yeah, like at the moment that's sitting at exactly, well, I did it all yesterday. That's 3 3/4 inches.
Okay, well that's pretty good. That's pretty good. You know, what they found in Gene Ovanek's research on wild horse feet, and they took imprints of them and measured them, was that between these horses, there was not that much difference in this part of the foot right here. You know, that wild horse of Pete Ramey's, where it's open and you can see in it, he's got an inch. I mean, this horse, he can use some more foot. I'm okay, but I'm just saying, what I think you'll find is you'll see as his foot develops, he'll start developing it kind of on his own, and you'll let him add to it. You know what I mean? Am I making sense?
Well, you are, but what I'm saying is to get those measurements, see how you've now got more hoof wool all the way along.
Yeah.
That means that those would actually be higher than the measurements that we're currently working to. That's what I'm trying to get in my head, which is, to me, makes sense. It has to be more. Do you know what I mean?
But yep, you're right.
So do I let it actually develop if it wants to? I presume I do.
Yeah, as the sole develops. Okay, yeah. See, you don't want to let it get you. Okay, let's see if I can explain this.
You don't want heaps of wool above the sole height. I get that.
Not until you don't see, until the back of the foot is right. Like he needs some more development right in here, you know, right in this area. Okay, as soon as he gets some more development in here, then, and because see, now you've got some really good things going on. These horn tubules are very much aligned in a very nice, with the internal foot angle, you know, with the internal foot. Let me undo this. Clear all drawings. Well, I guess now, I don't know what's going on, but this is not changing. Oh, I know why. Because I'm not using that program. It's like, why isn't it taking it off of there? No, I don't want to save it. I wanted a picture of that, and so I did this. Okay, this is what I did with my horse. I saw what the foot, and this is where I made a mistake on this kind of reasoning as well. I saw where the foot had to be a certain way from studying those wild horse anatomy pictures. But my foot wasn't there yet. Do you see what I mean? And so sometimes you can let it build up too much to where if you have changes that need to take place, then you've allowed too much sole and too much bar and too much this and that or wall to build up before the foot is in place. Like on this foot, it would be more heel in here. You know, see how he goes down like that? So he's still building some heel in the back of this foot to support.
And he can still be quite tender too. So, I mean, he's obviously not, still got changes to make.
Yeah, and so once you get that in more, then this whole foot will start developing and growing correct sole, and you can allow more length here because you're going to have more live sole too that's wanting to grow in. See?
Right.
And it'll be more like this, basically. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. It's hard to explain, you know, because I made some mistakes in trying to kind of make the feet that way before they were ready, you know. Like with Molly, my mare, I could see how these horses had this sole ridge and how it was not concave, it was flat, you know. And so then when I would trim her, I would kind of trim that into her. And sometimes I would rasp off too much sole on her because I knew the foot, when it's finished, that's what it's going to look like. After everything's grown and the heels are restored and the sole is grown to its optimum thickness and everything, that is what it's going to be like, okay? But I was trying to force it, not realizing that. You know, you can't carve it into these feet or rasp it into these feet. It's got to all come back together and grow into this anatomically correct thing. You know, the last thing that really comes in after we get, the frogs stay up here, you know, and everything like that, and everything is right, then the sole here will heal and thicken and lengthen and that. Anyway, these are great pictures, you know, of this foot. This just really makes me happy. You know, because I know this, you know, first time you shared these pictures with me and stuff like that, and looking at him, and he's so big and he had such little feet, you know, and stuff. And so you're in a good position here.
Do you have the first photos there? You should show everybody what you looked like when I first showed you. It's quite embarrassing.
Okay. Isn't it funny how we're embarrassed over our horse feet? Yeah.
Well, because we made them get like that, didn't we? Or let people
Yes.
get them like that for us.
Well, yeah, and the thing about it is that happens too when you're restoring them. They look so, a lot of times they can, like yours looks really nice here, but they can really go through major ugly stages, you know, to where people go, well, I don't do that to my horse, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Instead, well, I'm sorry, but, you know, like when my foot was kind of like this, but the cartilage was still bound under it, and then it released and popped out the back like that. I mean, my heels look like they're clear up here, you know. I
Well,
thought
I've been
my
quite lucky because I know when you were getting all your things happening, you've been about 6 months ahead of me, so I know each stage is going to happen, so it's been quite nice.
okay, and see, that's kind of what that looks like here, like everything just kind of released in here.
Yeah, that it did that last winter.
Yeah, see,
I
look at the
posted
difference.
where the frog is looking really awful, where the bulbs let go and there's just like, looks like frog corium basically. But
Yeah,
that was the stage
yeah,
we did that.
you know. Well, yeah, it's just pretty cool. Okay, let me uh save this. Hold on. Okay. Oh, just a second here. I gotta see something. Hold on. Hold on, hold on. Where am I now? Am I spelling your name right, Claire?
God, it's so small. Can I say it? Aire.
Aire. Okay. What's your horse's name?
Trilly
Trilly?
or Trilogy. Yeah, I think I put him under
Trilogy.
Trilogy.
Ah, okay. Trilogy, like in you know,
I don't think he's on the
movie?
form. I don't know what we discussed.
The Hobbit?
Yeah, well, no, he was the third foal that we bred from a mare and stallion,
Oh,
and actually
okay.
he was the ones before him were supposed to be in Trilogy. That was actually a triplet as well. They pricked out 2 embryos, but it never survived, so
Oh.
he ended up being Trilogy instead.
Oh. Well, he's sure a big, pretty booger. Okay, I got that. Now I'm gonna close that. Or I should have kept it open, I suppose. Well, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna go back here. Oh my goodness sakes. Okay, I'm lost.
I might be able to find it. I don't know.
There we go. Okay, yeah, so that's March 2019, and this is March 2020. Well, you can see how that was opening up. Look at that. And you go out there and you go, oh no, what's happening? Yeah. Yeah. Heels are just looking good. Okay. Let's go way back here. Ah, teeth. This is a different horse though here, huh? Is that
Yeah,
you?
that's not my horse. No.
Yeah. No?
No, that's not mine.
Where
No, I don't have any white legs.
where are these pictures coming from? That's you though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say I'm not totally losing my mind, am I? I wonder where those come from and why they're there. I don't know.
Talking about dentistry.
I think this is the oldest one I've got. You know, and
Yeah, I think Rhiannon's got my oldest ones because I sent her, like, I
okay.
connected with her first.
But see, this is interesting too, how this periopal just grew right down the center of the toe there.
No, that I think that's just the light.
Do you?
He didn't have it. He didn't. No, there was not. That was never down there.
Oh, okay. Because I've seen this periopal do weird things, and you can see how thick it is on his foot, like it's
Yeah.
abnormally thick.
Well, that was it was after it rained, and but he's quite inflamed above the coronet band, isn't he? Like where the foot's not fitting into the capsule.
Yeah. Boy, that just looks like. See, I've seen it emit stuff and grow stuff down the foot and stuff. That's why I thought that was what that was.
Yeah, no, it's definitely just light.
Okay.
I find my photo album is very annoying. It keeps changing the order of my folders.
Yeah, that would be annoying. Okay, I remember these. I remember that right there where that opened up like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, look
that's
here.
Let it go.
Look here, you had nothing. That was July 2017. Let's download that.
That's the other horse. That's George, though.
Oh, okay. Well, so much for that.
The same thing, though, but he's the
same
thoroughbred.
thing. Yeah.
He's the other horse that was in the background of that video you showed.
Okay. Oh, let's see. Where are we at here? Wow. That's pretty cool looking now that I know what it is. You know, when you don't know, it's not cool. Look at, you can see the frog stay down in there between the bulbs. That's a pretty neat picture.
And that sole seems to have thickened up a lot since then.
Really good. Oops. What did I do? I keep losing people. Well, heck, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Claire. You know, I think of all the conversations we've had and
I know
everything like that, you know, and you know, at the time, I have to be honest, sometimes when I'm having conversations with people, I'm like, oh, you know.
Another
like,
poor horse.
Well, you know, I want to help people so bad. I want them to be able to help their horses, you know. And what we're just learning is it takes time, you know. And so people, that's 2017. And so, you know, you just sticking with it and not giving up. And, you know, and now we know, and see, we know stuff now we did not know then. We didn't know that not only were we restoring heels, we're restoring the whole back of the inner foot to its rightful position. You know, that don't happen overnight. You know, it's trim the hoof capsule change a little bit, frog develops, pushes up on the inner foot, foot grows hoof capsule from a new position, see, and on and on and on and on, just like that with that scenario. So that's what we all been going through. So, you know, it's really great to see that people have just, well, what else is there? You know, we're the people that are out of options. You know what I mean? You know, this is not really a place I want to be. You know, is correcting hundreds of years of error. Oh, and especially the last 20 years of barefoot mistakes. You know, this isn't what I want to do. I could think of better things I could have done with my life, you know, than be obsessed with this, trying to figure out what the answers are, trying to save my horse. And so if you're here and you're thinking that I'm a professional, I'm not. I mean, maybe I've kind of become a professional in a way. I'm just a horse owner that wanted to save my horses. Okay, and so that led to all this research to try and figure out what is wrong. Why doesn't my horse have wild horse feet like they promised me it could have? Okay, because I knew for a fact that the whole wild horse idea was true and correct. Okay, but the way we're going about it is not correct. And so hopefully we can all help to prove that this is the true foot of the horse. We can restore heels, we can restore the inner foot, things like that. So, okay. Does anyone have anything they would like to share, or anything they would like to say, or any questions or anything like that? Let's see. Well, I guess we're done for tonight then. I'm looking at who's here.
Well, thanks, Linda.
Well, you're sure welcome. Thank you. You know, anybody here?
Something good to come out of coronavirus. I'd be working otherwise.
Oh, yeah, no kidding. Oh, well, this is something else, isn't it, girls? And, you know, I just know in the end, it's all going to turn out okay. I'm really believing that. I feel bad for people who have lost their lives and livelihoods, you know. So anyway, let us keep people in our prayers and keep a positive outlook.
Who is that, Linda?
Huh?
Who were you just talking about?
I was just talking in general about people, you know, feeling bad for people who have lost their lives during this thing and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. I thought it was somebody specific.
Yeah. No, nobody specific yet that I know. Thank goodness. You know, I feel sorry for the people that have lost their lives, and I hope in the end that a lot of times situations turn out to wake people up about certain things, and so maybe that'll happen. You know, maybe we'll start manufacturing our own drugs and things like that, which is something I think each nation should be able to do some of that, not be dependent on another nation. You know, the more you can be, I don't think we have to be totally independent of one another or anything like that. I'm not a total separatist or nothing like that. But I do think that each nation should have a certain amount of stuff they make in their own country, you know, especially when it comes to healthcare and drugs and all the stuff that you might need for that. So we can hope that all of our countries will wake up to that fact, you know, so they're more better prepared. Because there could be, let's look at it this way. Maybe something way worse is going to come down the line, but because we went through this, we will be prepared for it. There we go. That's what I like to believe. All right. Well, hey, everybody have a great week. Stay safe. And we'll be talking to you throughout the week, okay?
Thank you. You too. Stay
Okay.
healthy.
Okay. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye
Good
bye.
night.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Linda.
Okay, thank you.
Good night. I don't know how to leave. Let's see.